Man, how's it going so far, just in terms of learning this offense, etc.?
So far, so good. You know what? It's only been 2 days out here, and everybody has to respect the fact that it's a process. You know, it's obviously April, and everybody's learning each other. We're getting familiar with one another, with personnel, with terminology, everything else. But we've had a good first 2 days. The guys have come out and competed really well. The practice tempo's been upbeat, and everybody's been moving around. So I'd say it's a great first day. And again, though, we have to know that it's a process.
Pat, with the injury, how much have you been able to do? Have you been able to take the full amount of reps that they've set up for you?
I have been. I've been completely fine. Nothing's been held back at all in terms of football.
How long does it take to get a relationship with a receiver, get comfortable with a receiver? How long does that process take?
I think it differs from one guy to the next. I think it's just repetition and building rapport, and then understanding how a guy likes to come out of a break, or the different mannerisms that he might have. So, but it definitely takes a little bit of time, and especially right now, these are great camps for us to be able to kind of get on the same page with these guys.
Having seen all the weapons out there on the field at your disposal, how excited are you now to see them on the field and what that could potentially be?
I'm really excited. Again, you mentioned the word what it could potentially be, and I think that's what it is right now, potential. We have to put it all together. We have to come together as a team, but it's all 11 guys working together to make this thing go. And so right now we're just kind of starting to lay the foundation, understand the playbook, and then go from there.
Matt, you've been in a lot of different systems and had to learn them. Is this one differ greatly from others, or are there elements from previous systems that you're recognizing?
Right. You know what? Every system, I think I've had, like I said before, I think 8 coordinators in 7 years or something like that. There's always carryover in terms of concepts, especially conceptually. Everybody kind of has something similar. It's more the terminology that you really have to grasp and understand and master, because then you start to understand, okay, what are we trying to get achieved and stuff like that. But sometimes there's words that carry over, and I'm like, wait a second, which one does that mean? So, but that's why you got to put in the time in the study room.
Of course you want to win the starting job.
Right.
I mean, you're a competitive guy. How do you I'm not sure if it's check your ego, or how do you balance it out to know that there are team needs and it is a competition, and you kind of know what I'm getting at. Just how do you want to win the job?
Right.
Balance that with helping the other guy.
Right. Sure. Thanks, Vic.
Well, you know what? Like I said before, you go out and you compete when you're on this field. You know what? You try to do the best that you can do. You try to go out and win the job, so to speak. At the same time, when you're in the locker room and stuff like that, if somebody has a question, he's a teammate as well, and so you're going to help him out, because that's how I was raised. When I went into New England, Tom didn't have to help me at all, and he was a great mentor to me. He helped me along the way, and I think that it's my duty now for some of the young guys to kind of do the same thing as I move on in my career.
And in that sense, how have you gone on with helping DJ or Tyrod or Jeff?
Right. Well, anytime we have questions, or anytime I can talk to them or impress upon them something that I learned that helped me out, I take the time to do that.
Rex was kind of raving about Robert Woods, how good he's been out here for a few days, and you actually threw with him out in California a couple times this offseason.
I did. You know what? Robert's he works tremendously hard, and that was the first thing I noticed about him. Obviously, he's a USC product, so you would expect nothing less. But at the same time, Robert's a great football player, and you know what? He works at his craft, and that's part of being a professional, and that's why I think that he's got the potential to be a really good receiver in this league.
Are there different steps to timing with receivers, Matt? Because this isn't real football yet. These guys aren't getting a whole ton of true, they're going to see press coverage out here,
right,
but it's not the same as real football when the pads are on.
Right.
So is there a first level of timing that you try to establish with them, and then as the pads go on in camp, is there another step to that? I mean, is it a progressive thing?
That's a great point. It's definitely a progressive thing. Right now, like you said, there's not a ton of press coverage. There's really no press coverage. They're not allowed to. So that's good for us, but it's there's all these timing routes that you're going to see throughout the year that you start to get a feel for these guys and how they come out of the breaks and stuff like that. But also for us, it's a lot of different footwork with a lot of different concepts right now. So getting a feel for new footwork, how a coach wants us to do that kind of stuff is just as important for us, throwing and being on rhythm, being on time with the throw.
Rex was talking about how Jerry Hughes was effectively wrecking practice today. Give us that from the quarterback perspective.
You know what? He's a great player, and that's why we just re-signed him. We're happy that he's on our team, and you know what? Anytime that guys come out here and compete and can perform like that, that's what you want to see.
What did you see? What do you see in him, though? What are some of the things that you've noticed? You've watched a lot of defensive ends
right,
and outside rushers in your career. What do you see in him?
Well, he's just has a tremendous motor. He's got a great physical set, and he really understands what they're trying to get accomplished with their rush lanes and stuff like that. Again, when you come out and see it in person, it's pretty impressive.
EJ recalls working with you back at some camp 4 years ago.
Right.
Do you recall that? And what were your impressions then, and what are your impressions, 4 years later?
You know what? It was at the Elite 11 camp out in California. I was one of one of the counselors there. So I came out, and obviously EJ was there as one of the highly recruited guys in Florida State, and he impressed me then, and he continues to impress me. He's got great maturity. He works hard. He studies. So I think EJ's. I think the ceiling is super high for him.
What would your thought be, and have you given any thought to the idea that come, say, Friday, this team might draft a quarterback? Is there any, what does that mean to you?
Nothing. You know what? I never worry about the NFL draft. You go out and you can only control what you can control. They're going to do what they're going to do, and that's just part of this league and how it all happens.